They've updated OBS. It looks fantastic. They've moved on with the times. It's a lot easier to use as well, to be honest. 1, 2. Yeah, we seem to be working okay. We seem to be nice and loud. How are we all doing? I keep getting messages. My granddaughter's just been in a boxing match at the university, and sadly there was sound issues with the thing, so I don't know if you could find it. She wouldn't know who she was anyway, so there's no point really, is there? I've just sent her a quick message. I just put, I wouldn't want to smack off you. Bless her heart. So we'll come live in that way. Come to me in a minute. Horizontal. Just sort of fire it up. Obviously, we're going to use this channel now. I usually go live on a Monday night. I usually a bit earlier than this, really. I've just been doing a video just about telling people about how this channel going forward. I've been doing loads and loads of videos on my other channel. And it didn't really work out. To be really honest, I ain't got enough time to sort of feed 2 channels with different stuff. So I just put it all on one. I don't think anybody will notice. We'll see anyway. There's quite a few subscribers on here now, so hopefully 1 or 2 is going to come in. Otherwise, all this has been wasted. So, drink of choice this evening, Pepsi Max. Hang on a minute. I don't know what's happened to my audio box. 1 second. I pressed it to switch it off a while ago and then decided I needed it, and then it's actually in the bit where it's asking if I wanted to turn it off or not. So I can see my own voice now. Above the clouds, how you doing, mate? Nice to see you, buddy. How are you? Thanks for popping in. Better than talking to myself. You'll be off to bed in a minute anyway, because it's 22:11 or 22:11, as in 10 past 10-ish. I'm just saying, OBS has been sort of tidied up a bit. It looks a bit more with the times now. They put all the meters the opposite way on, all the mixers the opposite way on. Looks really tidy. It's a lot easier to get to the buttons as well. The only thing I do need to do with this OBS is move the stream up in between the intro and the outro, because I keep losing it. So you end up with a bit of a dark space. Don't look very professional when you end up with 10 seconds of dark space for a start. That was a good show of yours, Ian. Just popped in at the end. Lou had gone home, so thought I'd pop in and have a listen. Always nice and friendly and happy and lovely. I was on with Benny last night. To be honest, I was in the foulest mood. I got the worst headache. But I think there's a bug about, according to people. A lot of people have got a real bad head. So I don't know what that is, whether it's sinus or not. Didn't really feel like it was. It's in bed ready for beauty sleep. What time do you get up? Actually, I don't get up well 10 or something like that. Busy day today. I had the car in for testing. It wanted a little bit of work done to it. So I popped it down, had that done. So that's all clear now. Had a new tyre fitted. I had to have a ball joint done. It was starting to wear. Well, I don't like to leave anything to wear, because the next thing you find out is that you needed 2 tyres on the front. So anyway, I went down and got a tyre put on. It's all done now. That's it for another year. Sadly, last week we had a bit of a fender bender. Somebody ran to the back of the car. And so I think they're taking it away on Thursday. It's going to Sheffield somewhere to have a new bumper put back on it. Oh, 6:10. All right. Yeah, so I get up for a wee about then, to be honest, and then go back to bed normally. Whether Monday night's not a very good night to go live. It's weird, isn't it? You watch. I was watching somebody earlier, and the channel's called Social Experimentalist, and the guy that had that channel was called Danny Shine, and he was Charlie Veach's mate. Yeah. Well, I spent a few quid, and then I've got to spend on the license now, because obviously it's the test procedure. You have to license it. Yeah, he was Charlie Veach's mate back in the early days. He was the bloke that used to go and loads of money. He used to go stand places going, "Life is good." He was like one of the original auditors, but he was really nice to people. But I don't know what's happened to his channel. I've just been looking at a live stream. There's 9 people watching it, and he's been about for years. So I don't know what's going on there. So I don't know how long I'll stay. It's one of these sort of things where when you fire a live up, if you can't get anybody in, you end up talking to yourself. I've put the original thing on as well in association with Inu, my friends at Inu. Now, when I first started doing this Amazon store thing, originally, it didn't do anything for a start. and then it got to be doing quite a lot, and then all of a sudden it's doing nothing. So I don't know what we do about that. But oh God, I probably shouldn't have took that apart. That's probably going to take a week to put back together. Is it? Maybe. I bought a new tripod for my camera. And I struggled to get this part to line up. So I've took it off, and this was actually screwed onto another bit. So I've took this off, and it works a lot better without it. So I'm not really sure what that was all about. I don't know what sort of angles you could get with that. I suppose you could put it over there like that. I don't know. And then spin your camera in. Anyway, whatever. I'll deal with that later. Stuff ain't cheap, you know, when you start messing about with cameras. If you get the original DJI stuff, it's really expensive. But the small rig, I've started buying stuff from a company called Small Rig. I bought this. And it actually comes with a action camera stand on it. So that just pops out like that. And also does that. So it turns it into a really good tripod. And that wasn't a lot of money. It was probably £14. Well, if you buy, there's one that looks very similar to that, which same as Cheryl Demers, how you doing? Yeah, how you doing? Nice to see you. If you look at that, looks like that. They actually do a battery handle made by DJI, and it's £80. But this, I say, was about £18. And the good thing is, you can keep hold of it. So if you kept hold of it that way, and then the other bit is you just clip that on your belt like that, so you can wander around with it with your camera upside down. Went out for an afternoon tea. Went out for Sunday for Mother's Day. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It is nice to get out. I work Sundays, so I can't really do anything about it. But my mum's not particularly well at the minute. She fell over and broke her wrist the other week, but they've took the pot off now, and she's not doing so bad, but she's not got the confidence to go out when she's 83 years old. So they seem to sort of lose the confidence, don't they? But hopefully we're going to get her going again. Because that is the problem, isn't it? When you get to that age group. So as I said in that video earlier, I'm just going to move everything onto this channel, and then I've only got one to do. So if I put a review up, they can watch that. If I put anything up, they can watch that. And then if I go for a walk, I'll just upload that on here as well, and it just saves me messing about. I worked it out the other day, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, she'll be fine, yeah. Yeah, she's doing all right. She's a tough old bird, to be honest. I worked it out the other week. I got up and I went out and went walking. I think I went to Mablethorpe. By the time I'd done, I had tea with Lou, and I'd finished editing at 11:10 at night. And I thought, well, this has gone from an hobby to an unpaid job. So I'll just think, I'm not bothered. I'll just do something different. Hopefully it works out anyway. It's not a vape show, but we do have a vape. I ought to put that bloody warning on, really, didn't I? Yeah, that's right, yeah. But you hear so many things. If you don't watch it, you get obsessed with it. You start listening to these channels, how to build your channel up and how to do this, that, and the other. A lot of them don't actually give you any information. They just make a video about how to boost your channel up. And then when you finish watching it, you think, well, I've not really heard anything. Because the next week they'll repackage it and do it again. And that's just the way it goes, really, I think, with them. And they tell you to stick to one thing and one thing only. You know, if you're going to do gaming, just do gaming. If you're going to do cameras, do cameras. But it all gets a bit, unless somebody's sending stuff out, you know, you can't start doing camera reviews because you won't be able to afford to. They're an absolute fortune. So I just decided I'd just do that instead. Condense all the content. Well, to be honest, I used to on it. You know, one day I'll be doing a phone. Next week or two I'll be in Spain doing a beer review. And, you know, next thing I just put all sorts up. I got some really good views. I got some amazing views on some vintage mobile phones. I just started doing, not reviews, but show and tells, and people were really interested. There's one of those for a BlackBerry Porsche design that's not really any good now because they switched off the operating system, and that's got over 8,000 views. I did a couple on card machines. One of them Well, two of them in particular have got 25,000 views, and one of them's a short, and it's got 35,000 views. But there's only so much you can tell people about a card machine, really, isn't there? You know, you can tell them about the updates and things like that. But if you actually Google it, what's the best YouTube subject for somebody to do on a channel around 60 years old? They'll tell you that what you need to do is how-to content, which, you know, show people how to fix the switch on a Skoda Octavia, like the door switch that went wrong on mine. Loads of people have watched that. How to turn the lane assist off on a hire car, because everybody, when they go on holiday, they get in the hire car, they go down the road, it's got lane assist on, they haven't got it on theirs at home, and it starts doing this all over the road, and it's really off-putting, especially when you're on the wrong side of the road. I did one of them, and it was a 2-minute video, and you can even hear the air conditioning. Flavour Craver, how you doing? Nice to see you. You can even hear the air conditioning in the car, and 5,000 people have watched that, because 5,000 people wanted to turn the lane assist off on the ride car. So, you know, that's the way it works. I did one on a Renault, but nobody wanted to know about that. Did one on a Vauxhall last year. Quite a lot of people watched that. So I need to tell them I don't want the same car each time, because I want the views, baby. The views. So hopefully this will get going. I've got enough subscribers. I just want some watch time hours. The heady days of the vape show, when you used to get 50 people watching you for an hour. And that's how to get your watch time hours. Do 2 or 3 of them a week, and you've got some serious watch time hours. And you'd soon be monetized in no time whatsoever, wouldn't you, really? That's what I want to do. Get YouTube to pay you. That must be Kaylee. Unless Wayne's decided to send me a love out, which is no problem nowadays. I'm just saying that you're a bit late to the game. My granddaughter's just been in a boxing match at the uni to raise money for charity, and my daughter says, "Oh, do you want a link for it?" I said, "No, I don't really want to watch it." Anyway, she sent me a link, and I just had a little sneaky look, and I thought, it's not the best, is it, really, watching your grandkids? So I sent her a little message after. I only watched it. I fast-forwarded it, to be honest, because she'd already finished doing it, and I fast-forwarded it a bit. But I'll tell you what, she was having a good go, like. Anyway, she didn't win, which is, so I'm going to send her one in a minute saying loser, because, you know, that's the way I am. And, but I wouldn't want to smack off either of them, to be honest. I bet you know what's going on. You know, you get a couple of them at the side of your suite. I think it's brilliant, though, especially for young women. At university, it doesn't do them any harm to be able to look after themselves. So any sort of training like that, boxing training, or anything like that, you know, just in case they're on the way home one night and somebody decides they want to have a pop, if you can punch them in the throat or smack them around the head a few times and daze them, and actually manage to get away from these people, then it's got to be a good thing, isn't it, really? So I've just found this. I can't remember where I put the other thing. What goes with it? That's one good thing with DJI. If you buy anything, it always comes in the pouch like that. These are microphones. They're brilliant. The little called Mic Minis. These are cracking things. Did you get these, Ian? Or have you gone? These are brilliant. And you get a little thing and you shove it in the bottom of your phone. This is what you need, Kaylee, for your iPad. Especially if it's a Type-C, because that's what these fit in. They're 14 quid. Shove that in the bottom of your iPhone, download an app, and then you connect this up to it, and you've got an external microphone for your thing. And these are 30, and that other bit's 14. So that's cheap creation, isn't it, really? Don't do what we did when we first started. We used to buy every microphone as it came out, and found out it wasn't as good as they thought it was, and then just move on to the next one. In the end, you just spend money and spend more money and spend more money. It's like cameras. There's always, you get one and you think, well, yeah, it's brilliant, and then certain situations it isn't, so you buy the one that's good in that situation, but that's not as good in another situation. Then you get a 360 one, and then you end up spending an absolute fortune. But it's another one of those rabbit holes that you go down. If you're like me, to be honest. Used to be vaping. I had to have every vape device that came out. Before that, it was phones. I had to have every phone that came out. And it just goes on and on and on and on. And it's a very expensive hobby. I'm pleased I ain't got young kids. That's all I can say. I think cameras is probably the most expensive thing. A friend of mine, he does proper photography. And he wanted to buy a really good lens. And he was on about selling some of his camera collection to buy this particular lens. And I thought, oh, God, don't tell me you're going to do that. I can't afford that. I'm only a poor cabbie. Anyway, thankfully he changed his mind, because otherwise I'd have been having a bit of that, I think. I'm more interested in video content than what I am in photographs. But there's a group that I've joined on Facebook. Now, most Facebook groups are fantastic for the first day. And then you start to notice cracks. And after about a week, there's always somebody in there who posts the most, who's always really acidic and horrible. And in the end, I just delete them because I can't be bothered. It's the same as people on Facebook that whinge. They're not long before... I don't... Because sometimes they can be friends of mine. Probably, so a couple of whinges and I have to unfollow them. Because nobody wants to wake up every morning to somebody complaining they haven't slept. Just filling this up. The old PVJ. Can't really talk about it on here. Otherwise I'll get strangled by YouTube. Right, I'm only going to stop half an hour. How long have we been on? 19 minutes. Seems a long 19 minutes when nobody's talking to you. Scott Wood. How you doing, mate? Have you been for that test yet to find out what's wrong with you? Obviously, if you don't want to say anything about what's wrong with you. But hopefully you've got asthma. I'm just saying, drink of choice, Pepsi Max. I never liked Pepsi when I used to drink. I never mixed on Wednesday. Right, yeah, good. Hopefully everything turns out all right. Hopefully they find out that you're allergic to work and they're going to have to pay you a fortune to stay at home. Yeah, when I used to drink, I could never stand Pepsi Max. Since I've stopped, I absolutely love the stuff. I try not to drink it too much because I went to Benidorm and I decided, and with the lads, and I said, I'll just have to drink pop. Anyway, on day 2, raging bad stomach, too much sweetness, too many sweeteners. So that's when I started drinking zero alcohol beer. But since I've come back from Benidorm, I've never had another one. We're going out in a couple of weeks. I'll probably have one then. But Lou come round tonight, so she's had one of me zero Guinnesses because she was driving. But I must say, it don't bother me now, to be really honest. I'd rather not bother. To be honest, I'd rather have a cup of tea. You know what I mean? I've got to that stage now. I'd just rather have a cup of tea. Anybody else had this bug where your bloody head's pounding all the time? It's awful. I've actually, they've given me some tablets. Because you get to the stage in your life when there's a lot going on that you've had enough. So you nip to the doctors and think something's wrong with you. And they say, no, actually, it's not that, it's stress. So you better have some of these. So they've given me some tablets that you take every night so you can sleep properly and have a proper sleep and reduce your stress levels. So hopefully we should feel a lot better in a couple of weeks. That's the only thing with stress. It's one of those things, isn't it? Comes to get you from behind and you don't really realise that it's affecting you. And you think you're doing okay and then you find out you're not. But I am now. Well, I will be in a couple of weeks. Wednesday, bloody hell. Been going around down here. Daughter has been rough for a few. Yeah, it's like a massive thumping head. And then every single one of your joints seems to ache. And you just don't feel very good, to be really honest. I was saying, where are we? Dehydrated, allergies or sinuses? Well, yeah. Yeah, dehydrated maybe. Because that's the only thing when you drive a cab, especially as you get older, you think, I'll not drink too much because otherwise I'll always want to go in for a pee. And that could be a thing really over the weekend. Yeah. I've had it, I had blood pressure medication and I was blaming that. But I went to the doctor and I said, I think it's my blood pressure medication. Because it says on the box that it can cause this sort of fluttering in your head. And he said, well, none of the symptoms you've described to me are what comes off that medication. But my daughter actually works at the practice, so he knows full well what we're all going through. And he said, what's wrong with you? He said, you're getting stress headaches. He said, even though they're not like a headache, he said, that's what you're getting. It's tension at the top of your head. Yeah, well, I have got high blood pressure anyway, but not massively. But I'm doing the weekly thing to see if they need to adjust it as well. But it is that sort of feeling, that bump, bump, bump feeling. But according to him, it's stress because it feels like somebody's doing that at the back of your head. And then it goes away for a bit and then it starts again. So I think it's stress, to be honest. But when I first went for my blood pressure checked just over a year ago, it was too much sodium in dark sodas. I don't drink gallons of it. I have probably a litre a week. That's all I have. And it's the only time I touch it is usually on a Sunday night when I come in from work. I'll sit there and sip away at that. But not on a I don't drink it on a regular basis. I was doing last year, to be honest, because I say I've just quit alcohol, and it was a bit of a job for a start to actually sort of do something else instead of that. So the obvious one was to go on to soft drinks because they were cold and fizzy. So I went, I was drinking quite a lot of it then. And then, as I say, we got to October time and I drank an awful lot of it over a couple of days and then found out it made my stomach bad. So I thought, well, if it makes your stomach bad, I'm going to calm down a bit with this. For that reason, because obviously it's not doing you any good, is it? I know it doesn't do you an amazing amount of good, even the diet stuff. Some people say you're better off drinking it with sugar in. But I suppose then it put weight on. My wife drinks about 40 cans of Pepsi Max a week. I was doing, I don't know, 3 or 4 litres, I think, that's when I first stopped drinking. No, more 3 or 4, because it's 2 litres now, they're probably 8 litres. Especially in the summer, because you're coming from work and you can't have a cup of tea because it's too warm. You used to have a beer and you don't want one, so you just have a big thing, a litre and a half for Pepsi. And I found in the end I wasn't feeling it wasn't doing my stomach any good, obviously. So I stopped doing it. But in the winter it's really easy because I just love tea. So we changed from Ringtons to Yorkshire tea, and I drink gallons of it now. And I enjoy it more than I ever enjoyed Ringtons because we used to have somebody that came around and delivered it because we're posh. So I don't know what hire car I'm going to get. Last time I had a Prius. Was you at the expo? I had a red Prius. I hope they haven't sent one of them. I didn't like that thing. They didn't actually say what they were going to send. They said it could be automatic. They were trying to send me a fully electric one last time. I said, oh God, I don't want one of them. I've nowhere to charge it up. And then fast chargers that are dotted about, they're bloody expensive, aren't they? So I said I didn't want one of them. So they sent this hybrid thing. And the seating position in them for a big bloke is awful. You end up all sort of, I don't know, the steering wheel's too low. You have to crust the cans, otherwise it won't fit in the recycle bin. Well, that's the first thing we noticed, to be honest. Our blue bin, if they didn't empty it for a month now, because our can and bottle bin is blue. If they didn't empty it for a month or two, we probably wouldn't notice. Whereas before that, it used to be ram jam full. You'd be like squashing them down to get them in. I didn't have to squash them. Never got that many in there, but and there'd be vodka bottles and and bloody whiskey bottles and to cobble dogs with. But we don't do that anymore. And Sue rarely drinks when we're at home together. So I'd have like 10 cans of beer and she'd have a bottle or 2 of Prosecco. So she don't bother with that. She just has a drink with Lou now on a Thursday because she stops over with her on a Thursday night. So Not as it doesn't matter to me if she has a drink. Don't bother me. She can sit there supping wine and I'll just drink tea. I'm not bothered. Me personally, should have done it years ago. I've wasted a lot of time having an hangover and worrying if I'm safe to drive and all that sort of thing. When you drive for a living, it does control it. Yeah, but the thing is, if it's not doing any harm, if you're doing it on certain days, I think one thing is the pubs have gone down, haven't they? So people don't tend to go to the pub. Which, when you used to go to the pub, you go, 4 or 5 pints and chat to your mates, and then it was time to go home and off you go. The thing is, that I used to drink on my own, and that's the easiest way to get stuck into it too much, because there's nobody there to say, just hang on a minute, mate, bloody hell, you're shoving it down you tonight, or have you got other legs? Or because sometimes it's just a remark like that when you're in the pub and you say, oh yeah, I am a bit, aren't I? And then you sort of get into that state where you do it all the time. And then if the more you drink, the more your body wants you to drink, because that's how life is. And I just got ridiculous, really, to be honest. And I got to say, I got edema in my legs. My legs used to swell up. I was 22 stone. I ain't lost much more though, to be honest. Even though I do a lot, I do quite a bit of walking. I ain't done as much walking this last month. I've got to be honest, because the weather's been awful. It's always been bloody raining. And that's it. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. I had a bit of a wander around today, but I didn't walk far. I have a pair of trainers that I can walk properly in, because I've got no arches in my feet. And I have a really flat pair that I drive in, because I've got massive feet. And if I don't watch it, I put my foot on the clutch and the accelerator at the same time. So I can't walk far in them, though. The trouble is, I make my own in 65. It's a bit tasty. Yeah. I used to do like single malts, but then they got too expensive, so I went on to bourbons. And Jim Beam was a lot cheaper than Jack Daniels, and Jack Daniels used to make me feel sick all the next day. So I just started doing Jim Beams. And then as soon as I went on holiday, you'd get an offer on, so I'd bring 3 or 4 bottles. Hello, Mike, how you doing, mate? Nice to see you. So I'd get a few bottles of them, and then you get a special offer on the plane now on the way back. I got 3 litres of Jack Daniels for about 25 quid. Anyway, not anymore. Not anymore, job done. I can't imagine I've saved a fortune, because I've spent a fortune on cameras. A lot more healthy, though, walking around with a camera than it is drinking booze. Yeah, Mike's always here. He's lovely. I love Mike. He's nice. Are you going to the expo, Scott? Are you getting to get there? It'll not be long now. It's only another month, isn't it? Hopefully we'll all get there. No, not really. It was weird, because I was a bit obsessive with it, to be really honest. I wouldn't say I was alcoholic, but probably dependent, nearly. I didn't used to get the shakes, but I used to get the yearnings. And I was really into sort of special brews and stuff like that. And every now and again, even it can be 9 o'clock in the morning, and you just think, oh, I could murder one. A bit like a cigarette. It's the same feeling I have with alcohol is what I used to have with cigarettes, where you'd just be sat there and you'd be fed up and you think, I could just get pissed. You know what I mean? So I say I wouldn't say I'm a full blown sort of alcoholic. It's. I mean, if you watch TikTok nowadays, everybody's one, aren't they? But when my sister-in-law died of it at 48. Ah, right. No, mate, it's a very expensive weekend for me and the wife. It's pretty much a week in Spain. Yeah, well, yeah, I know what you mean. Just as it's the last one, I would presume it's going to be the last one, because as soon as they bring all this bloody crap in, nobody's gonna. You won't be able to do it, will you? The next thing, they're sending a survey around now. Do you want to not vape? People to not vape outside here, there, and everywhere. And the next thing, it'll be just the same as cigarettes, and they'll ruin it before they've done. And then in 5 years' time, they'll be like, "Oh, let's have a. We need to find out why all these kids are smoking again. We need to spend 10, 15 million quid on it, 20 million quid on it, getting these kids to stop smoking. We need to get them patches out and stuff like that. Patches and gums. They always worked back in the day. Ridiculous. I was in a foul mood last night, and it wasn't helping. You know what I mean? You just think, God. If they'd have invented vaping, then we'd be fine. We missed the social, the expo. Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah. It might be brilliant. But I mean, I enjoyed it last time. I thought it was good. I've always enjoyed it, though, to be fair. I think the best one was when, well, it wasn't the best expo, but it was the best time we had when we went back from, when we came back from COVID, because nobody had been out for ages. And we were like, oh, look, there's people. And we all got sat together. And it was a bloody cracking time. Absolutely cracking time. But, so the only problem is, it's like, oh, I'm not going to go just in case it's rubbish. So nobody turns up. Vaping saves lives in this country. It's crazy. You can buy cigarettes. Well, it's the same in America. They're going on about vaping. You can, saying you can't vape, and you can't vape anywhere, and you can't have flavoured e-liquids because little Johnny might get into it. But you can buy cigarettes anywhere, and they're not even expensive in most of America. It's it's corrupt when you're finished, isn't it? That's what I think, anyway. Me and Matt Waits have a walk round late on. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's good. It's nice. I love. I love it. I love Expo. It's nice just to see all the people. But I don't know who's going to come and who isn't. They keep saying who's going to be there. I can imagine it being a very, very small sort of thing, and it just pure and simply being for the people that go there. That's the thing. Hopefully they'll prove me wrong, and it'll turn out and be really good, and they'll get stuck in, and they'll have another one next year. But I honestly can't see it, and I'm not saying that just to be like some people are like, oh, it'd be terrible, but I just hope that the proof was wrong. I mean, the one that they did in the other thing, if that works out, you'd probably find out that more people will go to that if they don't do the other thing. They can sort of pinch the weekend that they were normally doing it. We'll speak to Pete and AJ, see if they're... Yeah, I don't know if they are. I ain't seen them. I used to see them in Zoom rooms and that, and I ain't seen them for ages. I suppose people just get busy, don't they? I mean, I used to be a big hanger out in Zoom rooms, but like on a Saturday night, if I even listen to a show and it gets busy, I'm too interested in listening to the show and I forget the jobs that I'm doing. So I've just sort of policed myself a little bit and decided I'll just not do it. So unless it's a really quiet night, I don't really listen to it. But and then if I've listened to it and it's still quiet, I'll go over and go over into a Zoom room and have a chat. It's just nice to see everybody. Is it really? All right. They're not. Oh, they're obviously nobody's sending anything out. Yeah, that's it. People aren't going to, are they? I mean, like with that's the reason I stopped. I said to Vapresso, don't send any more. I'm not going to put any on because I said it's not worth it. It's not worth it for them. Send a 50 quid device out and 25 people watch the video. It's not really good. And I think that's sadly that's what's happened to Vic. I mean, he got himself up to 57,000, was it, subscribers? Got a massive audience. Peter's doing it. They have a diverse. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They have a gaming thing as well, don't they? It's a proper professional studio, isn't it? What they have. Like my professional studio here. It used to be Louisa's bedroom, this. I painted it white once, and that's all it's ever done. Just hung stuff up. Yeah, well, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. They're a bit like car salesmen, aren't they? They do products, whether that be a head unit for a car or an exhaust for a car or anything. They do products. So whatever somebody sends to them, they'll do a presentation on it and upload it to a channel. I know they do gaming. They definitely do gaming stuff. I mean, it's amazing because they're a wealth of information as well. You've only because they're in touch with the right people who to speak to, and they could give you all sorts of little heads up as what was going on. The tech channel has taken off. Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah. So I mean, if you look back on this channel here, there's a Nokia 8800. I think I did a video on, and it's had like 8,000 views. 128 kilobyte gaming. Wow, bloody hell! Because you're not far away from them. Do you get around there a lot? You'll not get you'll not get nothing to try if they're not getting anything in. Seems amazing. Like when we first started doing this, the first product you ever get sent out to you is absolutely phenomenal. You know what I mean? You think, God, bloody hell, they could send out the light. And they could just sort of say, oh, well, we want 10 videos on 10 different juices. And not that the people I've reviewed for have done that, but that's what they could do. And you would say, oh, yeah, of course I will. And you'd spend hours and hours and hours. I actually got paid for one from a company that sent them that Zin stuff out. They paid me about 300 or 400 quid, I think, 300 quid. They were really good. There was a massive budget for those pouches. But I've never done anything from them ever again. And I've still got them all in the drawer. I got some from Expo, and I tried one on a plane on the way back from Benidorm, because I thought, fancy a vape. I'll have one of these, and you don't really make me sick. I have a chinky every month or so the studio is in Epic Space. Yeah, but it is, yeah. Yeah, I've sort of, I don't know whether I was talking to him while they was in there. Because, I mean, it's set up, isn't it? Because it's typical like at any other TV studio where you have your area where your camera is. And, there can be nothing. I mean, like this one here, if you turn that camera around, there's a window there. And then you turn it around the other way, there's a door there. But nobody ever associates what's actually either side of the person that's talking, because that's the way it is, isn't it? Still have a Motorola C520 somewhere in the cupboard. That was your first mobile phone. Wow. Have a look back on here, Matt. Say I did a Porsche design BlackBerry. People really like that because it's still boxed up. I've still got it in the box. The original surround that came with it was a white slip that went over it just for packaging, and I always left it in that. And I've had it that long now that the glue went off. It just all peeled itself. And then underneath there's another thing that you slide it into. That's still in good condition. And then there's a little box. 12 by 12. Oh, they've got 6. Bloody hell. Yeah, and that's all you need, isn't it? If you watch, I watched Game of Thrones. I watched all of it, and then I even watched the last one, and it showed you the filming of it. And it showed you there when they're stood in these supposedly massive buildings. They're actually they cut the camera down to a set of steps that they've built, and then the bit at the back of CGI. Yeah, there was. Yeah, I enjoyed doing them. And to be honest, I'm going to do something else. I'll have to find lots of stuff to do on here, because I say I'm just going to put everything on here from now on and stop buggering about, because it's not going to work. On the walking one, you need to do. I need to do a lot more to get the views, to get it up, to actually get it monetized. And then you're trying to do that, then a bit on this one. And you sort of run out of steam, and neither one of them are ever going to pay you anything, because you're not putting enough on either of them to do it. So if you just put everything on the same one, job done. And if it don't work out, then it don't work out, because it's only really a hobby. I'm not imagining I'm going to get 10 million subscribers and be making thousands of pounds a week. But in the next 7 years, before I retire, what I'd like to do is actually get something where if it even paid for a couple of flights a year to get you somewhere, so you can actually do some more filming and build it up that way. That's what I was thinking. Whether that'll happen, you never know, do you? Because you know what Google are like. They might say after about 5 or 6 years, oh, walking, that's no good. We can't do anything about it. We can't have that on there. You've got to put a warning up. Walking might make you thin. The gaming goes, oh, you should do, oh, no. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not, I tried gaming and I got bored of it really quick, to be honest. I'm not very good at gaming, which is a problem, isn't it, really? That's what you want to be doing, Mike. If you're a gamer, you want to just connect it up to your bloody, what you call it, and start a channel up and fire it off. Just make sure you don't get the game music. People don't seem to like the game music. Or should I say the copyright people don't like gaming music. That soon gets a bit of a flag on it. Fancy doing car repair, a day in the life of a garage channel. Tell you what you want to do. Well, you want to do what you want to do, mate. But if you set a camera up on your own car, like if you were going to fix something on your own car on a Sunday. Hello, Graham, spelt correctly. How you doing, mate? Nice to see you. If you were doing something on your own car and you said, and it was a common fault, like window switches, on Skodas, on the Skoda Octavia, I never had one on the Mark IIs, but on the Mark III, the switch goes for your window. If you get one from Skodas, they're about 70 quid, I think, plus VAT. If you get one off Amazon, they're 15. And it's a 5-minute repair if you know how to do it. But the way the armrest is done, it hides itself. All you need is one of them plastic prodders, stick it in there, and it just clicks out. And then you shove it out this frame and plug it in. And like something like that, there'll be, that's your bread and butter money on your YouTube channel, because people will watch that forever, because they'll always want to change a door switch on a Skoda Octavia. And there's a lot of them about, you know what I mean? So I've got a noise that comes out of mine and I can't find out anywhere. There's quite a few people that's got it, and I can't find out how you fix it. When it gets to 11 degrees Celsius, so it's like this time of year, as you accelerate, you get a vibrating coming out of the dashboard. Then if it cools down and you put the heater on, it stops it doing it. If it warms up, it stops doing it on its own. But it's only when it's between 11 and 14 degrees. And it's the most awful noise that comes out. It's a plastic vibration noise or something like that, where something's rubbing on somewhere else. And I've looked in all the forums, and there's quite a few people that's had it. One bloke had it repaired, but it was under warranty, so he took it to the garage and they didn't tell him what they'd done. So anybody that finds that fault will get 1 million views on YouTube for it. You don't get subscribers from things like that unless you were doing that. That's where you get your every day. If you were doing the same thing every day, then people would watch you for that reason. But it's good for your watch time hours. I think there's on one of those, I can't remember and I can't show you. I'll have a look. Let me have a look. It tells you your watch time hours on each video. Let me have a look. No, that one. That's where I need to be. Right. Videos. Sort by most viewed. So most viewed. The most viewed video I've ever had is 35,000 views. Had 26 thumbs up. But this is what you're after, is the watch time hours. So that video on its own, bearing in mind you need 4,000 to get monetized. I'll show you just how many it's had. It's at 855.7 watch time hours. So you want 3 videos like that or 4 videos like that, and you'd be into fan funding. And if you got 5 videos like that, you'd be fully monetized on YouTube. Pretty sure the fix. So you know what it is. So which bit do you take out? That's inside the dashboard, is it? I'll bring it down to here. That's the aircon pipes expanding. Pretty sure I've seen this fault before. So is that behind the dashboard then? You take the radio out and go in there. I know there's one of them where they say it goes underneath the floor and the packaging's rubbish, so you take them out. They take the bolt out underneath or something. So unless that cures it as well. That's your own work anyway. We'll put that on the video on the thing. Can you get a Skoda Octavia and then upload it? That also got me 28 subscribers. The pipe across the engine bay. Right. I know exactly what you mean then. So we just need to put some packing. What did you say? Pretty sure fix it. Remove the clips and add packing to the back of the pipe. There you go. That sounds about right, mate. You need to do a video on that. You'll be a famous YouTuber. So this one here, I'll just show you another video. This one's had 24.9k views. The watch time hours on this, 954. So there's that. So them two together, you're 2/3 of the way to getting your fan funding, because that's the other one. So this one's had 22,000 views. And the watch time hours on that one, it's had 1,000 watch time hours. 1,024 watch time hours. So that's 3 videos that you got into fan funding. And all those videos are how-to videos showing you how to do something. Crazy, isn't it? I'm going to have a look at that tomorrow. Take the clips off and put some packing behind it. And then I'm going to do a video. I'm going to put it on this channel. And I'll credit you with the repair. But I'll keep the watch time hours. Exactly, mate. Look at Matt Armstrong. Do you watch Matt Armstrong? Started off delivering Indian food, I think, or working in an Indian takeaway. Then he changed his wife's front bumper and a wishbone on a TT when she smashed it up. And a little housing estate. Now he lives in a mansion. And he's got every fast car you can ever think of. And about 6 million subscribers on YouTube. That's the way to do it, mate. Whether it'll all come down, I mean, they get 3 million views on a video. It is absolutely brilliant. And he's a completely normal guy as well. From Leicester, isn't he? From the Leicester area. And he's just a normal guy. And he passes on the look to people as well. Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, I think they'd like him to disappear up that exhaust pipe. He's just put on that Bugatti. Oh dear. One thing, the confidence of the bloke over the years though, because he's like, he'll get a car and say it won't start. Yeah, well, you'd be surprised, mate. You'd be surprised. All you need, if you've already got a computer, you download Filmora or Wondershare, buy a Lifetime's license for 50 quid, and get stuck in. You will have to buy a camera, but you look at the Osmo Pocket 3. If you're using it in the garage, Osmo Pocket 3 is about $450. A couple of tripods. You can actually do it on a phone if you've got one with a big enough memory. Just to get you started. I've been in a taxi. I need to. The bloke picked it up this morning because I leave. I leave my. I've got a spare key that I leave at the garage. I said I'll leave that there because I've got 3. Then I said if you ever need to fetch it, you could just fetch it. Like if I'm abroad, like for instance, if it broke down, and I was going abroad, the next day they've got the key. They can pick it up when they want. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. So he picked it up this morning and I thought, right, I'm going to have a day doing bugger all. Anyway, 11 o'clock, he turns back up. He said, oh, I've got it. I've done it. But it wanted, when I took it to have it tracked up last time, all the joints were all seized. So they had a hell of a job trying to do it. And he says, if you want it tracking again, mate, he says, you're going to have to have them changed. Anyway, I took it down for the test. It got a slight knock on one of the ball joints. So I said, well, you have to do them all then. He said, why do you want them all doing? I said, well, because they can't track it up if you don't do them all. Oh, fair enough. So we changed the ones on the rack and the ones on the things like that. So I then took it and had a new tyre put on because it had worn the edge off and had it all tracked up. So it's absolutely flying now. But I think they're going to fetch it on Thursday and take it to Sheffield and swap it for another car. Boring. So I had it washed today as well. I just need to, because the plate runs out next week, I think. So I've paid for it now. You pay it by bank transfer to the council. I just need to take my details. this form that you have to fill in every year, even though I've been doing it for 30 years. I need to take that down. And a copy of the logbook, I think. I think they've already got a copy of the logbook, but anyway, they'll have to have another one, won't they? And that's it. That's it for another year. And long may she go with the new fix on the air conditioning pipes with the packing behind them. I think I did read that. Because on the older, what's the really fast Octavia, VRS, on the VRS ones, on the early VRSs, they used to go down the sill or something. There were some pipes that used to go down the sill. And nobody thought, oh, we've got some metal pipes going down the side of some metal. Let's pack them up. They just bolted them on. And as they started to wear a bit loose, they were rattling like a bad boy, and it used to go all the way through the car. So people were taking them to the main dealers, and I don't know exactly where they were, but they were having to take quite a lot of parts off to actually pack them out and stop them doing it. And it was like a selling feature. If you had it up for sale, you actually told everybody that the pipes had been packed, so they knew they weren't going to put up with it. Wouldn't that be amazing if Scott Woods had just told me how to stop that vibrating coming through my car? I'll have to send him a load of YouTube subscribers. Oh, yeah. Have you seen the price of them, though, Graham? My mate had the top of the range 17-plate Octavia, 2-litre automatic, with the leather seats and all that. It wasn't the Laurent and Clement, I don't think, but it had all the toys. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You can also like a whine noise when you switch on the AC. I've had the ones where you've had to change the heater fan. I had one changed on the last one. And also the fuel pump that goes in the tank under the back seat. They start pretending that you ain't got any fuel in. And if you don't watch it, they sort of fail altogether and it just stops at the side of the road. But I never got it to that. As soon as it started tinging on that, and you have to have the proper one fitted. Otherwise, the copy ones are noisy. So every time you start it, it goes, zzz, Lada Riva. Bloody hell. Yeah, he had this top of the range. Anyway, going back to my mate in his Skoda, he had a top of the range black one, beautiful car. And it had an intermittent gearbox fault. Well, there was DSG boxes. A shocking price if you have to replace them. So they did a couple of little fixes on them. Each one lasted 3 or 4 months, but it got to the stage in the end where you put it in gear. All of a sudden it go bing, didn't want to go. And then he get it going, so he traded it in, and he went to get another Superb, but he said they'd gone up so much. And the lad's nearly 70, so he didn't want to spend a load of money. He just wanted something of a reasonable price. And but the lad is 70, to be honest. But that he used to take us to the airport when we went drinking because he always wanted to drive. And you get 4 blokes in that, and it's when I had a Superb in 2004. I got it from Glasgow. Got it from the taxi centre in Glasgow, in Ireland. And it was like driving a Rolls Royce. It was the best thing I'd ever driven. But I had a lot of problems with that back in the day. It wasn't a particularly good car. It had rattles and pops and bangs and all sorts of things. And it's all right, my granddaughter's just text me. It bloody hurts. So I don't think she's going to take unboxing full time. Yeah, I had a lot of trouble. There was one day, my mate was riding down the road, because I used to have a lad what worked for me. He was riding down the road in it, and he said he got the windows down, enjoying his ride about. And he said all of a sudden the radio went off, and then the windows wound themselves up, and then all sorts of things happened. And then when they pulled it up, it wouldn't start. So they had to actually come and fetch it. No indicators, nothing. And it turned out to be a fault. They had to take the sump off to cure that. There was a short on something in the sump. Must have been the pressure switch in the sump or something. It was that, yeah, it is posh, yeah. Well, at the very end of it, it's actually flats now. But the bloke that used to own it, if you Google it, taxi centre, the owner of the taxi centre actually got murdered. So I can't remember. My mate Amish, he comes in here sometimes. He's a taxi driver in Glasgow, and he was telling me because he lives there, and he was saying that the bloke actually got murdered. But it was a bloody beautiful place, and big townhouses. Christ, beautiful place. I drove down there one day. They were supposed to bring it, and they said, "Oh, we can't bring it. Something had gone wrong." Yeah, that's exactly what I've done. Oil level sensor, short to ground. That's exactly what I did, mate. Yeah, you're right. That's another video you can do. But when I went to pick it up, the bloke said, "Oh God, it's been a bit of a job that I had to take sump off in the end." But they never used to tell you what anything had done. I bought a 2016 one. It was 7 months old with 15,000 miles on the clock, and it was absolute bargain. It was. So it must have been 2016. Must have been. It was an absolute bargain. Or early 2017, that's when it was. And you know, it started developing this fault pretty quick where it used to stutter like this. It was manual, diesel manual. And so I had it for a month, and then it broke down for a full month. It took them a month to find it. Yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah, that's right. But I say that garage isn't there anymore. They knocked it down and built some more houses there, some new flats there. Because Amy sent me a photograph, I think, of the flats that were built there. Just imagine that. Your dad started a garage in the 50s in a little place, and then all of a sudden you get a chance to sell it. And it's worth, an absolute fortune for the land. Set you up for life. But I say, the guy that owned it got murdered, not married. Let me have a look. I'll Google it, and I'll Google it and tell you who it was. Taxi. Taxi centre only got killed, comes straight up. Several incidents involving the killing of taxi centre owners and association bosses. No. Wrong question. Glasgow. Alexander Blue, a Glasgow businessman who owned the taxi centre, is currently undergoing a fresh review of evidence by authorities. Here are the key details of the case. Alexander Blue, 41, was found brutally beaten on the driveway of his home in Donald Road, Dower Hill, Glasgow, on June the 25th, 2002. I wasn't laughing at him being murdered. The investigation, despite a long-running campaign by his brother Billy Blue and a 7 million annual turnover business, the case remains unsolved after more than 2 decades. As of February 26, this is the current status. As of February 2026, the Crown Office and Police of Scotland are reviewing evidence with the family seeking justice before the 25th anniversary. So there we are. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it must have been. I'll see if I can show you a picture of him. Oh, no, you've got to sign in. Right, I'm going to have to go because Sue was there. I didn't realise it was that time. Thanks, everyone, for popping in. But I better go and see the wife. She's just hunting for a key. Hopefully I haven't left the key in the back of the door because Big Win mad about now. Right, we'll catch you all soon. I'm going to try that tomorrow. Scott, see if I can cure that. That will just be absolutely amazing. Thanks very much for that. Right, catch you all soon. Bye-bye.